Hi, everybody. If we have some folks online, bear with us for just another couple minutes while we wait for other folks to show up.
For the couple attendees that are here so far, I think we'll wait just a couple minutes, see if more people trickle in, but feel free to start throwing any questions you have in the Q&A or chat area, and we'll be sure to get those answered. All right. Well, in the interest of getting dialogue started, Elizabeth, I think if we could maybe talk a little bit about where are we in the timeline in terms of lead up to the program, kind of what has been done already, what deadlines are there still out there, what should people know about, all those kind of logistical questions that might be relevant, I think would be a great place to start.
Yeah, we can do a couple quick intros in here too. So I'm Elizabeth Reynolds. I'm the program director for Scale. I am really a business operations and generally startup person. I'm really excited to help lead you through this process. So
Quick intro on my side to add on to that. So I'm Asher, helping support Elizabeth on a lot of the delivery of the program, but I think more specifically on the startup selection and the deal flow side. So helping find as many promising founders as we can, and then from there, kind of helping down select the most promising ones that we find. So I'll be the moderator for the purposes of today. And with that said, yeah, I think back to my first question, also as a disclaimer to anybody either watching or is going to watch this later, this will be recorded on the Scale website. So we'll be sure to put the website link in the chat so that you can go on the website and see any sort of frequently asked questions, refer to the first AMA, all those type of goodies. So without further ado, yeah, Elizabeth, would love if we could talk a little bit about where are we in the timeline of the program. How much longer do we have until applications close, and all those type of deadlines that people should be aware of?
yeah, so our first cohort starts on May 10th. So that is coming up relatively quickly. Applications close on April 2nd. So for anyone who has any questions about that application process or anything, today is a great day to ask that. You're of course always welcome to reach out to us directly as well. We'll drop our emails in the chat here in a few minutes. And yeah, so kind of, process a little bit post April 2nd. So post April 2nd, we will be going through the applications as a team between Starburst and UCLA, and really talking about who's, what technology is really exciting, who's in a good place to learn from the program and advance in product development and market placement. We'll announce the selected cohorts on April 30th. And we are selecting 8 companies for this first cohort. It's very likely that that those 8 companies will represent a wide range of technologies and applications within the aerospace industry. Starburst, of course, does work with people across space, aviation, defense, and all of the associated technologies. So our first cohort is sure to represent that diversity.
Thanks again. So for just a quick recap, you said the deadline for the applications is April 2nd, correct?
It is. Yeah.
Okay.
And I
Amazing.
mean,
Yeah.
we haven't talked about specific times. So that could be midnight. We all know everybody's got a lot going on. It's just fine if that runs late.
Yeah, no, definitely. So also just for those in attendance, I dropped the link to the Scale program in the chat just now. So feel free to log onto the website at any point. Of course, you can submit the application directly there, but also is just a great resource in general. So I think the next spot we should cover that we didn't in the first AMA here would be, can you talk more about what is Starburst UCLA Scale's relationship with kind of local government entities? And the website mentions that the program is being supported by, or a collaboration, sorry, of various government organizations, whether it be the city of El Segundo or the Department of Commerce. Can you talk a little bit about what do those relationships mean for participating startups? What do they mean for the community at large? What are those relationships, and those type of questions?
Yeah, absolutely. So the program is largely funded by a federal grant from the Department of Commerce. So the goals of the program are really to advance technology development, technology readiness, and economic growth. This grant is tied to the SoCal region. And we have had overwhelming support from various government bodies and individuals throughout this process. They both participated in the grant and voiced their support there. Senator Ben Allen also gave opening remarks at our event on the 24th. For those of you who were there, that's also available online if you missed that. But it's certainly Southern California has been the aerospace capital for 100 years, and we are really excited that through programs like Scale, we're going to continue to be the aerospace capital of the world. There's a lot of changes and a lot of development happening, and certainly there are a lot of nodes that support this program within the region. There are the wonderful university systems here that produce more engineering grads than anywhere else in the nation. There are investors here who are interested in investing in this space. San Francisco is now does the second highest volume of investments, following only San Francisco. And there are a lot of industry players here. So Brandon, who also joined us at this point, leads a lot of our corporate development and partnerships, and we can speak a little bit to that. I think that would be really wonderful as well. But there are a lot of legacy players in aerospace here, and so we have a lot of support to develop new innovations and support people who are just starting their entrepreneurial journeys. Certainly, Starburst has a corporate headquarters in El Segundo, and El Segundo is absolutely an aerospace hub in and of itself. And we've had a lot of support from the city of LA as well. They, of course, have a high priority on urban mobility and urban air mobility, and aerospace is not separate from that. So we will be working very closely with the city. You'll see some joint events that focus on mobility in general and how aerospace fits into that.
Yeah, I think I might add on a additional question there for the benefit of people listening both now and later on the website. Support is a term that we use vaguely in life. Do you anticipate some of those nodes that you mentioned participating in the program directly, either through like lectures or maybe some sort of customer discovery, speed dating, or what what is the strategic leg up that a participating startup might get from some of those nodes, and how close contact will that be?
Well, we're early in discussions on some of these components, but certainly startups who go through the program will have an easier access to LA City, and a lot of personal connections and kind of support working through some of the bureaucracy there for folks who want to use LA as a test spot. LA has dove heavily into serving as a mobility lab. Internationally, LA is becoming the
Sure.
mobility lab. And so for anyone who has products that they want to test in the market, we are facilitating a lot of partnerships and ease into city relationships in that regard as well. Otherwise, we will continue to host events like the one that we did on the 24th. And we will certainly bring in folks from various branches of government to participate in some of those discussions and provide resources.
Terrific. On your earlier point, Elizabeth, I'd love to bring Brandon, you into the conversation. I know that you and Elizabeth have done a tremendous amount of obviously socializing with some of the corporate players here in LA, but also elsewhere that are looking to get involved in the LA ecosystem. Similar question would be, can you talk a bit about, who are some of those players? And obviously, bearing in mind that none of them are, or maybe not all of them are formal partnerships yet with the program, but giving startups an idea of who might they have access to by participation in the program, how close is that contact with them, what can they hope to achieve from that, and all those good type of substance related questions.
Right. No, thanks. That's a really good question. The best part about our ecosystem is that we're, regardless of whether the corporates that we work with are formal partners of ours or not, it kind of doesn't matter in the sense that we are connected with them in one sense or another. Now, obviously, there are corporates that do work with us on a yearly basis, that pay us throughout the year to provide services to them when it comes to technology innovation scouting or consulting studies or whatnot. So obviously, all your big names in defense are those people, right? So like your Northrop Grumman's of the world, Lockheed's, Boeing's, Raytheon's. Obviously working with the Air Force and Space Force, pointing to the most recent Allied Defense Accelerator that we ran with them last year, where we did an international accelerator, very similar to what we're doing with Scale, but on an international level for solutions for the Space Force and the United Kingdom Ministry of Defense. But the good thing about it is that we're also tied to a lot of, I guess you could say, what traditionally isn't considered a defense company or a defense corporate. So a lot of those non-traditional commercial corporates are now starting to pay attention to what's happening in this sector. And that's where we're seeing the most conversation and the most interest coming out of. So right now we're in initial talks with Microsoft. So their government solutions, government space people are truly excited about what's happening with cloud computing, edge computing, the next level of quantum processing, quantum sensing. So Microsoft is really taking a good look at the startups that are in this industry, and they have engaged with us to see if participation for them makes sense, which we believe it does. So now we're going through the cycle of talking with the right folks within the organization, within the executive level, at Microsoft, to get their buy-in and to hopefully bring them into this program as one of our corporate sponsors. Amazon is right up there with them. I think that you can look anywhere and you can pretty much see Amazon involved in some form or another. They just recently announced their participation with a machine learning lab over at USC. When it comes to, I guess you could say, government solutions through their AWS, they've been doing a really good job in working with the DoD, and they continue to extend their reach into that. So now they're VC team, I guess you could say, are looking to engage with startups earlier in their development of their products and seeing how things they can get in early on and help them develop that MVP, and as well as provide them with credits or whatnot. So we're also chatting with Amazon. Again, these are conversations that are not formalized yet, but it kind of gives you a flavor of companies that are definitely reaching out to us. So other, suppliers, OEMs, we have one large automotive OEM also looking at the SCALE program and other programs that we're running internationally for participation. So it's, I just want to stress the fact that it's not just limited to aerospace and defense. And every day I feel like the network for us grows. So hopefully that kind of answers the question. I don't want to make it too long-winded.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think you bring up an exciting point in kind of the earlier stage investors in the later half of your answer. So we'll get there. I definitely want to. Before that, walk me through what you think. On the one hand of the coin, it's clear what is the value add for a corporate that is looking to get involved with the program, whether that be on a formal level of maybe being a sponsor, or an informal level of just being a friend of the program and there to help startups that are moving through it, whether through mentorship or through some piece of the curriculum. But if you're a startup, on the other hand of that coin, what does success look like for you in specific regards to the corporate partners that will be involved in the program? Let's say you go through the 13-week program, and you want to be able to point back to something that was truly value add on the corporate side. What do you think realistic success metric is there for a startup, and what should they expect? Obviously, bearing in mind that the outcomes will vary, but would love to get your thoughts on that for people listening in.
Yeah, I think you hit it right on the head when you say your results may vary as far as what's considered a win in working with a corporate. I can point to like so many different examples in the past that we've done where a startup will go through our program and get some level of engagement from whether it's a corporate or a government agency or an investor. But specifically for engagements with corporates, for us, what we truly, the value add that we bring through our network is that by having connections directly into those corporates, we can bring that industry knowledge directly to the startup, right? So if, I'll give an example. If we have, an advanced composites manufacturing startup that basically wants to hear from the defense corporates and wants to know what are the technology gaps that they're experiencing for their, composites manufacturing and what they could do to like solve a solution. That's where we would, basically step in and we say, okay, let us get you in contact with those subject matter experts in the composite manufacturing field at, Lockheed or Boeing. We bring them directly to the source and get them, quote unquote, mentoring from folks that could help drive and develop their minimum viable product, or how they approach a solution.
Yeah, so I think not to cut you off, but to just short recap what you said, I think the biggest value add you're mentioning is really that early stage customer discovery, customer discovery that you might not otherwise get if you're an early stage founder, in particular in aerospace. And obviously what comes of that varies. It could be minority investment, it could be a direct purchase order if the product is far enough along, maybe even a joint revenue opportunity. But I think to try and hit the nail on the head, it sounds like you're saying that customer discovery piece is really what you should expect out of the program.
Right, and that the term customer discovery, that's exactly it. That's 100%, right? When we, and I'll give an example. When we ran the Allied Defense Accelerator last year for the US and the UK governments, a portion of that initial, front end of the program was the customer discovery piece, right? Where we had the startups engage directly with different branches of the US and the UK DoD. And, you know, they got to interact one-on-one with them, and they basically asked, you know, what are the problems that you're facing for your space warfighters? Like, what are things that you need help with, right? And getting that input early on from all these different sources help those companies then go through their design sprints to get to the final, you know, to the end of their design sprint, and then be able to pitch their solution that was specifically tailored for the US and the UK coalition warfighters. So that's to say, I think we're in a unique spot in the sense that when it comes to that customer discovery, we can very quickly get companies engaged with the right people, you know, not have them waste their time trying to find the right in. And I think that's where we stand out among the rest when it comes to this industry, specifically because aerospace and defense is very niche, right? And I tell this to a lot of people when they talk about, well, you know, why is your accelerator different from, you know, like the Y Combinators and the plug and plays of the world? And it basically comes down to that specific fact. It's like, if you're not from this industry or don't have experience in aerospace and defense, you're not going to be able to give, you know, pass on that knowledge to startups that are looking to make their name or to break into this industry, just because, I mean, you haven't been there, right? You don't know the players in, or, you know, even if you do know the players in the ecosystem, you don't have the connections into them. It's almost kind of like, I won't say it's a club, but there's a certain amount of heritage and legacy that comes from saying, oh yeah, you know, I spent, you know, a decade working at Northrop Grumman prior to joining Starburst. Like, quote unquote, I know what I'm talking about, or I understand your problem, or I understand the problem of the companies because I've been there, right? So in my opinion, that's where Starburst really brings its value to the startup. And I think that's one of the main reasons that the Office of Commerce has so much faith in us, that they gave us this grant to start this innovation hub and run it for 3 years. So yeah.
I just want to add on to that broadly, this answer is network, right? And even if you don't have an immediate deal on paper at the end of the program, you will have had time to develop personal relationships with people at these corporations. We have experts from across the spectrum on teaching lectures and workshops during this program. You know, people who are in leadership positions at these big industry corporations are going to spend dedicated one-on-one time with the people who are going through this program. We will also have a couple more general corporate networking sessions where you'll have an opportunity to really, at least, you know, it's digital still, but get some digital FaceTime with the folks in a number of industries. And if there's someone specifically that you want to connect with, again, this is where we can pull on our network, and we can make sure that connection is made.
Awesome. Well, great answers. Thank you both. I think that's definitely pretty comprehensive and clear. One piece I would like to pull on a little bit longer, Elizabeth, I think in particular with you, obviously being the program director and organizing the programmatics, you know, that customer discovery we talk about, what does that look like in terms of physical components of the program? Is that 20 hours a week? Is that 100 hours a week? Is it 30 minutes a week? What is that? You mentioned one-on-one. You know, is that a different stakeholder you're talking to every day? Is it, you know, you're kind of pairing them up, or what's your thoughts? Obviously, you know, recognizing that it might not be finalized yet, but would love to get some thoughts there for the listeners.
Yeah. So generally, you know, a lot of the one-on-ones, like the office hour time with the people who are giving lectures or leading workshops, that'll be dispersed throughout the program. And we'll be structuring those office hours the same week that the people speak to the cohort. And it'll be your time to really personalize and integrate the things that you hear about in the main program. We will also have a specific section where we focus on customer discovery. And we will have people from Starburst really working with you to identify who good potential targets are. We have someone who is coming on board through UCLA to help with a lot of the market research, who will help all the companies in the cohort again really drill down and identify potential partners, customers, investors. And there's just generally some of this is ongoing. So there will be those couple networking events that are spread out. And again, a lot of the service that we are providing is concierge. So we will really make sure that we are providing you with whatever resources you need to be successful. And so again, it kind of depends on the individual company and where you need introductions. And of course, we can't guarantee any given result from these introductions, but we can at least make the bridge.
Yep, definitely understood. So I think we've talked quite a bit about corporates as well as potential business development aspects of the program. I'd like to shift the conversation a little bit towards some questions we've gotten prior to today, centered specifically around investors, and it's fun to talk about now because we have actually a couple listening in. So help us understand, what will be the involvement of some of these early stage venture investors that might be following the program. Of course, recognizing that they'll maybe attend demo day, but that's pretty standard across accelerators. Can you talk a little bit about, how else do you plan to get them involved and what that looks like?
Yeah, we have about a dozen investors at this point committed to giving lectures, teaching workshops, hosting office hours, and participating in the biweekly pitch practices that we're going to do. So there will be, I don't know of any other programs that have as much structured involvement throughout the process with investors. And this is structured this way because obviously, everyone needs to raise money, and navigating the VC world in particular can be really complicated. And so in the same way that we will focus specifically on doing work with governments and provide support around government contracts and opportunities, we want to provide a lot of support around the conversations that you will be having with VCs. And these are very different worlds. And VCs hear so many pitches. They have a really great understanding of broadly what's going on in the ecosystem, as well as really understanding the nuts and bolts of where startups succeed and where they fail. And it's, again, all about that network, right? And so the more opportunities we provide for you to personally connect with these investors, to have an investor as a mentor, not only the better, your pitch will be better, but you'll be better connected into the network and have that route to warm intros that makes such a difference. I would say even more so today in this digital era, it's really, really important to have that warm intro. So there will be, throughout the program, I mean, almost every week we have an investor involved at a different stage, whether it be through lecture or office hours or at the pitch practices, and they've all committed to spending time with you one-on-one to make sure that you are set up for success.
Great, glad to hear it. Thanks for the elaboration there. I think in terms of topics I wanted to cover, that was largely speaking everything. Obviously, Elizabeth, Brandon, if you have anything else you want to add on to anything we just said, feel free to jump in at any time. I definitely would encourage some of the people listening in right now, if you have any questions in real time, to throw them in the chat or the Q&A feature down below. We've got some time here, happy to answer them. I think if not, we'll give it a couple of minutes and let you out early, so to speak, but certainly welcome questions. And yeah, Elizabeth or Brandon, if you want to add anything, feel free.
I'm really excited for the program to start. Thank you to all of you who have put in applications already. There are so many people working on so many cool projects. It's going to be a really hard choice to select the people for this good cohort. We've been really blown away with the quality of the applicants who are coming through. The dedication and excitement of the teams and the uniqueness and viability of the tech. We've seen some really exciting stuff. So thank you. And for all of those of you who are waiting to the last second to apply, that's totally fine. I get it. I do it all the time. So, but we're excited to see all those as well. So.
I second that. I also submit things at the last minute, so not just you, Elizabeth.
And I was going to say, again, this is the first cohort. So this first cohort is essentially May through July. We will have another cohort at the end of the year, 3 next year. So if you apply and are not selected for this first cohort, don't let that dissuade you from what you're doing or take that as any sort of judgment. Again, we've had a lot of really great applications, and we're going to try to connect with everyone individually through this process, and we will keep you in network, so to speak. And there are a lot of opportunities. And if Scale isn't the right program for you, Starburst also has other accelerator programs as well. So you can always reach out to us and learn more about the other programs and the additional support that Starburst offers, which is, also always growing. So.
Most definitely.
Yeah, I would also add, based on Elizabeth, what you were saying, just because if you apply and you're not selected, there are tons of other programs that we offer abroad, even domestically. And another aspect of our business, which, depending on the solution that we see from certain companies, you might just fall on our radar for something else down the road should one of our corporates ask for it, right? So there are instances where, companies will reach out to us that we haven't found on our own. And, at some point or another, a corporate will come to us and say, technology area X, and this company happens to fall in it. And then they fall within, landscape reports or other deliverables that we provide those corporates. And then those engagements are made with the corporate coming back and saying, oh, we want this company to come pitch for us at, an internal event that we do for our stakeholders. So, there are multiple ways to engage with Starburst. Obviously, if you're an early stage venture, don't feel that, you're not worthy to catch the eye of someone, even if you're early stage, because we've seen it where even if companies are early on, sometimes, the corporate is willing to invest that time to help those companies mature their technology, whether it's like teaming through like SBIRs or some other type of government funding. So multiple avenues for success. I think Scale is just one of them, but we're here to make sure that we help you be successful regardless of whatever avenue you take.
Well put. Eager to support in any way we can. So I think with that we can close out for today. Reminder that this is being recorded and will be on the Scale website. I'm gonna throw it in the chat one more time just so that everyone here has access to that. And we look forward to seeing more of those applications come through. Good luck in the process, and definitely reach out to any of the three of us, but really any of the members of the Starburst team if any questions come up. And we'll make sure that we get those answered, but also we'll get the right person to answer. So thanks everyone for listening, and looking forward to the program.
Yeah, thanks everybody.
Take care all.